Isaac and I being a married couple.
Yep.
In the same business.
Yeah. Are they talking to him?
Hubby and wifey.
Ooh.
Is your hubby, is your wifey. Like, no, either call him Isaac, call me Whitney, or go direct to him or come direct to me.
Okay.
Because it takes it on a different level.
Yeah.
When we're looked at this way versus this way.
Everybody, and welcome to our No Filter edition of the No Limits podcast. I'm Kristen Andre. I'm here with my sidekick today, the marvelous Miss Mendoza.
I've got a name now.
You have a name now. We did come up with that, so I'm very. And I noticed you changed your Instagram.
I did.
Very famous now.
So does that make me Michael Scott if I'm calling myself the marvelous Miss Mendoza? I mean, I might as well buy myself a Best Boss Ever mug.
You could. I think we should do that. I think we'll do that.
Because I'm dubbed myself that.
Awesome. Well, I am excited today because we're going to do another one of our No Filter episodes. So we've had some fantastic guests, and we're going to keep having some guests on. But there are a few topics that have been bubbling up, I think, in my personal life, conversations I'm having with friends, conversations I'm having with clients. So we're going to tackle a few of these. So today we're talking about our infamous term we're hearing a lot of, girl power.
It's interesting that you called it an infamous term.
It is infamous, which means it's almost famous.
Yeah.
So what do you think of when you hear girl power?
So I don't necessarily label myself as a feminist. Like it's just not a term that I like.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Yeah.
But there are things that make you go,
Yep.
And girl power does that for me.
Yeah. All right. I'm really curious to see what you say because I have 3 daughters, you know, as our listeners know, and my middle daughter hates the word girl power. She, like, anytime I'll post something or I'll say something, she's like, Mom, stop. Like, that's just annoying. Like, she is so annoyed by the whole notion of girl power and Wonder Woman. I'm like, whose child are you? But no, I think a lot of people are because it's just kind of this term that's out there.
Well, I want to know what does it mean?
I don't know if we've defined what it means. I think it means something different for everybody else, for everybody out there. I mean,
because I want to know what's different when we say girl power versus just power versus manpower.
Got it. Okay. I think that's fair. So
how is it different? Like, why is it girl power?
I feel like for me, the reason I like it is because I've been fortunate enough, and I don't know if it's fortunate enough, but I've been very intentional in my group of friends and my group of clients to surround myself with people who are powerful and who lift each other up. So women, the reason I personally like the girl power term is, to me, what it means is it personifies women coming together and building each other up and lifting each other up as opposed to tearing them down.
Okay.
So that's what I think of. But I think you're right. I think for everybody it's something different.
And the argument can be made that I'm saying the exact same thing. I typically tend to phrase that as powerful women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it's kind of semantics. Like it's whatever you want to call it.
So what if, and maybe this is what really prompted this in me, because I had posted a picture on LinkedIn. And it was a ladies' luncheon.
Okay.
And a male commented, girl power.
Okay. Oh, okay. So did you take that as, wait a minute, he's not a girl, he can't comment that, or what? How'd you take it?
I took it as the men kind of go out and have lunch.
Yeah.
I doubt they call it manpower. And then the ladies are out, and then it's like girl power. And that's like all it was. It was girl power, exclamation point, I believe. And like nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why is that girl power? It's a group of powerful women out to lunch.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I try to look at the intention behind it. Like if he said girl power exclamation point, I would, I'm thinking he's looking at it, go, man, that's a great group of women. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Let it be a compliment.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes we'll
I did
try
not
to
feel that way.
You just have to take it as how you feel they meant it.
Yeah.
And if they meant it derogatory, that's okay too. I mean,
True.
I've kind of come to the point in my life, in my elder stateshood here, that something's going to tick people off. Like I said, like if I use the word girl power, my teenager, my 14-year-old, she hates it. And I'm like, and she's the most powerful of my girls. Like when she's my little karate kid. So I don't know, maybe she just thinks it's just power. She probably looks at it more like it's just being powerful in general. But my feeling with it is, I never mean it or say it to be offensive.
Right.
But if it brings people together and helps them rally around supporting one another, I'm all for it. If it were divisive, then maybe not as much.
And probably what makes me feel the way I do is girl versus woman.
Yep.
Because there's a, differentiating factor there.
That's because you're young. You're a youngster still. You're just a child. No.
But I was
trying to do my best Scarlett O'Hara voice for you.
That was
you just totally missed that.
Yeah.
All right.
I picked that up.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but it's girl. I get, but it's a moniker because I see what you're saying, and I'll tell you where it came. Girl doesn't bother me, but you know what does? Gal. Because I started, my background's in finance, and when I started working in finance, there are a lot of wonderful, stately elder men that are in that industry still. I mean, the average age is in the late 50s or mid to late 50s of that industry. And they would always be like, she's such a sweet gal. And I'm like, gal, what are we in 1942? Which I'm sure was a fantastic era, but that word always sticks. So I think all of us have this word that kind of sticks. I mean, I call people girly and chica and all kind of, it's just what I do. And I think when I do it, as long as I feel like I'm not being derogatory with it.
Yeah. Which is so funny because now that we're talking through this, I have said things like my chick or my girl because I've like, so maybe it's context, adding context to it because like I would, and I would be fine with someone saying like another female saying that about me, like, oh, my girl, right? Like my friend is essentially what,
exactly.
And I don't know why I feel like I've got to have the arm.
You're all in your feels about this, Whitney. What's going on here?
It was probably some other surrounding context from who said it and, the situation and things like that. And I'm assuming that I'm probably the youngest woman in this group.
Yeah.
Yes. But just the thing that sometimes I butt heads with is because we talk about being treated different, but then not being treated different, right? So like, let's go like
okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
Let's go really black and white, like Army, right? The women in the Army have to go through the same procedures as the men in the Army. Correct. So it would be like they're both strong. Yeah, they both have to go through the same exercises. So where is it, that we say we want to be treated different, but we want to be treated the same? Because I almost feel like girl power.
I don't ever want to be treated. Well, I want to be treated the same. There are differences but there are good and bad differences. I think being a female in business has unique, wonderful advantages. I don't want to be given any opportunities because I'm a female. Right. And I certainly don't want to be given any passes or excuses because I'm a female.
Right.
So I agree with you. It's like the same thing in finance. My production records and the amount of clients I brought on and the amount of business I brought in, all of that, and how many people I was able to help. It was no different from the guys. I mean, that was different, but I feel like the reason I like the girl power, I want to be strong. And I think where it came from is traditionally you came a little bit, you came to earth a little later, but when we were younger, so in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, it was almost hush hush to be powerful. So you've got these women coming of age now who are in, those of us that are in our 40s and 50s. When we were a little younger, it wasn't being strong, being powerful. It was, dress pretty, look pretty, be sweet, be cute. That was the adjectives. It was sweet, she's cute, she's precious. And then you
Yeah.
get into business, sweet, cute, and precious doesn't cut it.
Right.
So I think that's probably where it came about, is that it's the group of us that are in 40s and 50s that are starting to embrace, like, it's okay. It's okay to be powerful and still be sweet. Not all of us are sweet, but still, it's just really trying to figure out what can be. So I tend to look at it as, I certainly never want to be offensive with the term, because I try not to offend anybody, but I try to look at it from who's saying it.
Yeah.
Like I've got gentlemen I work with in some of the firms that have known me. My dad was in finance for 50 years. So a lot of the people in some of the firms I work with have known me since I was a kid. And so I'll go in the office, and it's not unusual for me to walk in my dad's old firm and be like, "Oh, hey, kiddo." And I'm like, "Okay, here's a consultant, doing work for you guys, strategy work." And I still get called kiddo. So, but, at first I was like, "God, that's annoying." Same thing with gal. But they aren't meaning anything by it. It's just what they're used to it. So as long as I try to look at it, as long as they're not being offensive and trying to be mean about it, I just kind of let it go.
So that two things you said put me on two different tracks in my mind. So I'll start with kiddo.
Okay.
Because that's and again, I understand, no one means any harm, but something else that kind of rubs me wrong.
Yeah.
Isaac and I being a married couple.
Yep.
In the same business.
Yeah. Are they talking to him?
Hubby and wifey.
Ooh.
Is your hubby, is your wifey. Like, no, either call him Isaac, call me Whitney, or go direct to him, or come direct to me.
Okay.
Because it takes it on a different level.
Yeah.
When we're looked at this way versus this way.
And I think all right. So one of the things, like I said, I try not to I try to look at their intention behind it. And if the intention is clear and I'm not bothered by it, I kind of let it slide. But if it's something that bothers you, I think it is absolutely appropriate to say something in a very kind way, and just say, "You know what? While we're working together, I'd much rather you just call him Isaac." Or, just call him Isaac. No need to call him hubby. There's ways to say that to people, because a lot of times they don't realize they're offending you. Because I don't think they're being offensive, but I think they may be offending you. And it's less in what they're saying and more in how you're receiving it. Because my guess is they're not poking fun at y'all and going hubby and wifey. I just think that's a word. I saw somebody with a shirt on it that said wifey. I've never heard that term until recently.
Yeah.
I think the T-shirt industry.
Now.
It is a thing. I have seen that. But it's, we all have to take ownership for the things that offend us.
Yeah.
If we're not willing to do or say anything about them, which means if people are calling you wifey and it bothers you and you never speak up about it, it's on you. It's not on them. True. They may not know.
It's kind of like when you vote or don't vote.
Exactly.
If you're complaining,
then do something about it. Better be voting. Yeah. Then do something about it.
So something else that you said, being powerful, but being sweet.
Yes.
How do women, because I feel like I personally struggle with this, how do women do that without coming across as naive or I'm just someone who lets you walk all over me?
Girl. I'm going to say girl. I feel like this is a tough one. I have not mastered that. I will be quite honest with that.
It's okay. You just kicked me under the table.
I just totally kicked you.
It's totally fine.
Like, sorry. If you're thunking, I've kicked her out of a chair. I haven't mastered that one because here's why. It's a balance. And, I read a quote one time that something about, it was about attitude, and it was saying my attitude depends on you or how you write it. And a lot of it is because I can show up sweet as can be, but I can also show up really not nice. And we've discussed that. I mean, I unfortunately have a very large case of RBF in most situations. For those of you guys that don't know that, since I don't cuss on air, Google RBF and you'll get what we're talking about. But
or just look up Scarlett
O'Hara. But my face looks like I'm angry and mad half the time, and my kids are like, "Why are you mad?" I'm like, I'm sitting here, I'm doing nothing.
Yeah,
it's a balance between being sweet and naive. I feel like you can still be very, very kind and very assertive at the same time. So it's an opportunity to be direct and ask for what you want. Where I think people are perceived as naive is when it's almost they're not speaking up. and they're just kind of they're very amenable or agreeable or laughing or things like that. They're not really stepping into their power, if you will.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do that and be assertive and be somebody that's speaking their truth and asking for what they want without being a total meanie about it.
Yeah.
I think.
I still think I'm going to start a new movement. Woman power.
Woman power. You can call it woman. You can call it whatever. I will back you. You call it whatever you want.
Woman power.
But all right, but that brings up a good point. I think you could totally call it that. And where we lose footing and traction is getting lost in the semantics of what we call things. So you can call it woman power, girl power, ninja power, liger power, whatever you want to call it.
I like those too.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and this is even we see it I don't talk politics online a lot because, good Lord, I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But we see it in politics. Like, people get so hung up in exactly what somebody said and exactly how it was worded. And, unless it's something that's blatantly, hugely offensive, people are getting their big girl panties in a wad about a lot of different things that's like, you're missing the message.
Right, right.
So to me, what girl power means, woman power, Wonder Woman strength, whatever, is let's just come together and all be the best we can be.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Because there is so much that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know.
Sure.
Because it is a different kind of power, if we want to call it out, to be a mother and a business owner.
Yep. Yeah.
To be, maybe you're taking care of your parents and your children and running your business. Like, that is a different level of power. And
that's where, and we're going to talk about kindness on another episode, but that's where kindness and grace comes in, because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And people, I get a lot of comments and emails from people and direct messages from people, even after podcasts and things like that. And what I post, they're like, well, you're only saying positive stuff, and you're not showing your true self. I'm like, I show my true self. I'm just always the person that wants to put positivity out to the world instead of negativity. Do I have crud that goes on? Absolutely. I'm just not blasting it on social media. My closest friends know it for sure.
Yeah.
My parents and my family that I confide in. But all of us are facing something. It just depends on what we're willing to put out there. Not even willing, but a lot of times the reason I don't share all the challenges I have is because, like you said, nobody knows behind the scenes. So I'm not seeking to get input from people that don't know the whole story. And I feel like on social, a lot of times people will give input and give ideas. You should do this, you should do that. You really don't know what somebody should do unless you know their situation. So it's more just, looking at being powerful as putting yourself out there. I think to put yourself out there is powerful.
So with this, as we wrap up, how do you feel fight like a girl fits in this?
Fight like a girl. All right, here's all right, you told me. All right, so she did tell me that there was going to be one thing she was holding and she wouldn't tell me what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Why is my shirt falling?
Because it feels a little bit like that goes together, right?
Yeah.
The words feed each other, and what we were just talking about feeds each other.
Yeah.
Or feeds the statements.
All right, here is my take, and I will have a very different take on this than most people.
Okay.
So those of you guys that, know me personally or have listened to our podcast for a while know that I do martial arts. I'm not currently training, but I'm a 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo.
So she doesn't need to train anymore.
I totally need to train. Oh my gosh. I cannot. Somebody's like, could you kick me in the head? I'm like, probably a month ago, but no. And my daughter, the one that hates the word girl power, is a 3rd degree black belt. And she is a total just bad person, and not bad person, but you know what I mean. She can kick some booty. Yeah.
She a bad
so
egg.
Here's what I personally think about fight like a girl.
Okay.
I'd love to fight like a girl because I'm a girl and so's my daughter, and we'd probably kick most everybody's booty. So I hear the term fight like a girl. I'm like, don't you wish you could fight like a girl? I don't know if you can keep up. I mean, that's when I hear it, that's how I hear it, because it, I've fought guys in class before. My daughter spars with guys all the time, and she beats a lot of them. And so to me, when I hear fight like a girl, I love it. I'm like, yeah, you wish you could fight like a girl. So I saw a meme in a karate group I was in, and it said something like, it said fight like a girl, and then it says, if you train a little harder, maybe you can.
Nice.
So I love that term.
Yeah.
I really do. I know for some people it's offensive.
Yeah.
But when I read it, I'm like, man, yeah, girls fight harder. They train tougher. They overcome some obstacles that other people don't have to. So I personally like it. I totally get why people be offended by it, but I like it.
I think this speaks to your point of take everything into context.
Yep.
Consider who is saying the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because depending, like, okay, maybe you're changing my mind a little bit.
But like if somebody came to me and said, you fight like a girl, I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, because you have to take, not you, but everyone has to take ownership of how you're receiving things. I choose to hear that as a positive. So if I was fighting somebody and they said, you fight like a girl, I would say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I really would, because I'm like, you know what? Awesome. I do fight like a girl because I've worked hard and I've had to overcome things and I'm not the strongest person on the planet. So yeah, I am fighting like a girl. So I like it. I like the term.
Nice.
You were thinking something totally different, weren't you?
I was curious.
Yeah.
Because I knew your background is second degree black belt.
Yeah.
I think I made it to like yellow.
Yellow's fine. You tried it. You tried it. Yeah. But fighting is...
I got into
fighting doesn't always mean physical. Fighting means mental. Fighting, you can fight mental battles.
Totally
you can fight physical battles. You can fight health battles. So fight like a girl, if I hear that, most of the girls, women, Wonder Women, whatever adjective or moniker we want to put on them, most of them fight like crazy when it's something that's important to them.
Yeah.
So, the biggest takeaway I have for people is quit trying to find fault in what people are saying, or find, semantics and how they phrased it, and look at their message behind it. And if they're truly coming at it from a place of kindness and, trying to pay you a compliment, take it, receive it. Like, why are we holding our, Wonder Woman shield up and deflecting all the compliments people are passing at us?
Yeah.
If it truly, truly offends you, tell them. Because most people aren't meaning to be offensive. Like if you said, you know what, I really hate to be called wifey. Can you just call me Whitney? Or can you just refer to him as Isaac? Yeah. They would probably go, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Absolutely.
Well, you're right. It does give the other person on the other side the opportunity to correct and also explain, what their intentions.
Yeah. And my guess is you probably know the intent. Most people, you can guess the intentions. I mean, I've had people use these terms where I know, girl power, whatever, where they're totally being a smart aleck with it. Then they're being a smart aleck. The person's probably a jerk and they may not be somebody you want in your circle.
Right.
Just move on. I feel like I did this way more in my 20s and 30s, where I feel like I paid so much attention to what do they say and what do they mean? And, I said this back and maybe I should have worded it this way. It's just, life's too short. We just don't have time to worry about it.
And what's the saying that, it's essentially saying like, you think everybody's looking at you or worried about you, but they're not, because they've got all this other stuff they've got to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, we put so much stock into what we say and making it perfect, and there's no perfect. I mean, get your message out there, say what you want to say. If it falls incorrectly on somebody and they're offended and you didn't mean to offend them, apologize. Say, oh my gosh, Whitney, I had no idea that it bothered you when I did that. So sorry, won't do it again.
Yeah.
And then it's done. But I feel like we've, girl power is it's a good marketing thing. It really is. I mean, you can use it, you can hashtag it, you can find a gazillion hashtags on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I use it in hashtags all the time because it's marketing. It's not because I'm out there going, I think women are better than men, and some women are better than men, and some men are better than women. So,
because I would get a different vibe of you saying it.
With me saying, you wouldn't be offended by it?
No.
Yeah. So I think you've got to look at the meaning behind it, because I'm not out there beating a drum saying, and I did have a client ask me that one time, who's a very good friend of mine, because I think it was when I was posting about, I have a lot of the study groups, the Stronger Together groups that I'm doing. And, he's like, you're not going to be all like a man hater now, are you? And I'm like, how long? His name's Mike. I'm like, Mikey, how long have you known me? Like, you've known me 20 years. He goes, I know. I just, just checking. I'm like, it wasn't, he was really like concerned that I was going to. So all right, everybody write this down, listen, pay attention. This is going to be something you can be for girls, women, girl power, and not hate men. You can be a feminist. Even though you don't use that term, I don't use that term as much. I don't have a problem with it. It's not one I use a lot. You can be a feminist and not hate men. So we can be for something without being against something else. So if we can, everybody just needs to keep that in mind, because people it's crazy. Like the stuff, I tend to ignore a lot of negative comments unless they're just really rude.
Yeah.
Because you'll post something, you're like, that, if I knew my meaning behind it and if somebody took offense to it, it's not me. It's on them. It's not me. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with them. So
yeah.
That's my thought.
This is good.
I know. Don't get offended. Everybody in listener land here, just quit getting ticked off for no reason. Focus on the things that are important, and quit wasting time on the things that aren't.
Love it.
And girl power. No, I'm just playing.
Yes.
No, it is. I am for girls and women. I am for men and boys. It just we can all win. So thank you, the marvelous Miss Mendoza.
Thank you.
Another good No Filter episode. So until next week, everybody, keep pushing past those limits, and we will see you soon.